Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So I am back again with two alliance wars, and one of them is insanely tense and very interesting. Well, to be fair, both of them have some interesting fights in it. First one is against PBT, another team that has been scoring very well, and this again was a close match. And the second war is against XK9, and that war is crazy because XK9 is in third place, New Nation is in second place, and there's less than one attack bonus separating us. And yeah, we're gonna get to that one. But first, this war is relatively brief. I only had like 3 fights. I didn't do too much. And this is also kind of funny. I did throw a little jab at my officer because I have 45 rank 4 6-star champions, and he assigns 2 rank 3s for me on this team. But it's fine because obviously APOC still has a massive health pool, and I only needed that for one fight myself and then to give a pre-fight to somebody else. Starting off, I'm in path 1 here, dealing with the Piggy. And Piggy, actually, I really dislike fighting the Spider Ham, but, you know, it shouldn't be too bad. I really don't like fighting in Spider Ham because of the animations, everything else, but looking at the nodes, APOC is pretty much a perfect counter. Masochism, you get to completely ignore that. And then, obviously, just drop your power as soon as you reach 1 bar. So he doesn't gain any nonsense charges, he doesn't start evading, and you'll be fine. So it is very straightforward fight, obviously. It's just a bit of light-hearted fun there to rib my officer. Now, I will be getting these towns, and I think at some point also one of the Porker Poppers, but I'm not going to pay them attention at all, because obviously APOC still has a relatively massive health pool. I only need APOC for 1 fight, so I don't care if I do take a tiny bit of damage here. And detonating 1 or 2 of those power stings isn't really any danger at all to me. The only danger in this fight would be if I start eating combos to the face and specials to the face, so on and so forth. Here I made a slight mistake. I did not meant to carry on with my combo. I meant to stun and drop a heavy attack, but since I accidentally tapped too many times, I didn't have quite the stun duration to chain into a heavy attack there. Here I have Porker Popper, I don't know. Here I have a Piggy's power sting, and I just completely ignored it. I just threw my special attack. I'm still at 95% health, all is good. If I'm going to get another taunt on, I have the opportunity to heal it, but as I said, I don't really need the remaining HP to be perfect either. And this was it for Section 1 fight, and then Section 2, I need to take 2 fights that I have done exactly. Couple of wars ago, I actually had these same exact matchups where it was on Path 3, Nimrod, and Super Skrull. So it's a supposed relatively popular placement, but just like in that war, in this war, I'm bringing in Thing, because Thing is like an amazingly perfect counter for this entire lane, because you effectively have Kite and a Storm, which requires bleed immunity, and the other node requires you to be able to deal with Shock, which also obviously Thing is immune to. And since Thing is global tactic attacker, you can easily get rid of all of the armor ups. You can easily get rid of any buffs that opponents have by fate sealing and neutralizing. So ultimately here I just put on Liquid Courage double edge masteries because Thing is a thing. Let's face it, he is not a fast sprinter for any fights really, but especially for like Alliance War standards. He's not the greatest damage dealer unless you do the cheese thing with champion synergy and stuff. But in general, he's obviously quite slow. However, you know, I'm still slowly building up my Furies there and making sure that he doesn't really get any buffs. Kind of like keeping the fight in control. I don't care which special I push him to, because if he throws his level 1, I can Fate Seal and neutralize the power gain, the energize buff that he gets. If he throws level 2 and gets unstoppable, that is not a problem either, because again, that is something that I can easily Fate Seal and just remove completely. And here we can see that the fight is, you know, going relatively steady. I have taken, you know, 70-some% damage because I'm running Liquid Courage double edge because of recoil and whatever. Not having those extra debuffs in this fight does kind of help me, but here last 3% actually have no power, and he has 3 armor up, so I can't avoid getting glanced a bit, but it's only like last 3%, so it's fine. And then the next fight is Super Skrull, and this fight again, I used to dislike fighting Super Skrulls, But Super Skrull is on my Alliance quest path. So I end up fighting Super Skrull 5 days out of 8. So I fight Super Skrull every single day in Alliance quest, and I have definitely kind of gotten used to it. The only way I would mess up here severely enough to put me in danger with Thing, I suppose, would be eating a level 2 if he has plenty of buffs in. That could hurt. Or obviously, the other kind of like difficulty aspect of this fight comes from me having to watch out for that falter timer and, you know, play around it. And the good thing about Super Skrull is that, yes, during his special one, you can dash in and kind of like try to hit him in the middle of that special one. And that will also remove that falter. And that is like literally the only thing you need to know about fighting Super Skrull in order to make that fight super easy. Because it makes getting rid of that falter kind of like automatic and straightforward. And then it's just super easy. There's not much to worry about. Here we can see I'm going to get that falter again, but I'm baiting out level 1. Dash in the middle of the level 1. That's it. Falter's gone. Throw my special. There's like 3% health. Fine, no problem. Another smack. And then that's it for this war. And we did end up winning this war, I believe, 4-8 or 4-7. We actually had a stressful war this one as well, because we cleared first and we died 4. And they had only 1 death, but they had quite a bit to explore. And luckily for us, they did give away those deaths as they kept exploring. But it was quite nerve-wracking looking at the score when we are technically losing. That being said, this next war is crazy. Just to paint a picture to you guys, XK9 is in 3rd place. They are an excellent alliance, and they are less than 1 win bonus away from overtaking us. The reason why they are like half a win bonus away is because they are shelling, and they started at the top of tier 2, and they started beating up on the tier 2 alliances. I think a couple of first wars they had were in tier 2, but obviously as they were climbing the ranks, they were effectively just beating up weaker alliances and getting a very, very good score. I believe they have like 1 loss this season, and we have 2, but because they started in tier 2, because they shelled down a bit too low, I suppose, we are still ahead of them on the leaderboard. And they are very, very good. They are. I believe they did 1 death clear last war. And that kind of makes it even more annoying. And you definitely do not want to lose an alliance like that. That abuses the system and, you know, shells down and stuff. Especially when they could easily compete with the best alliances the way they are. What made this war even more annoying was the fact that by the time I woke up, they had explored the entire map and died twice. We had about 35 fights to go, and we had died once. Looking at the time, it was either going to be close, or we are going to be slower. It did look like we were going to be slower. So the point is, just to build a bit of a picture for you guys here. This is a war for top 3. If we lose, they overtake us, and, you know, we possibly would move down to 3rd or even lower. And there's no margin for error. Every single fight is potentially a lost war. Any person playing in this war that still has fights to do can lose it. Only way for us to win is if every single player plays effortlessly. Well, plays perfectly without dying. And all of that combined, my team gave me Absorbing Man for the first time ever, and I need to use Thing for matchups that I have not used Thing for ever or in a very, very long time. So this war was very, very stressful. Because I'm not the best Absorbing Man player, I'm not the best at light intercepts and stuff like that, but luckily these fights didn't really require that. But still, I had never used Absorbing Man in Alliance War. And then the rest of the fights, I knew that they're not going to be quick, because that's the one thing, the important thing when you use the Thing in Alliance War. All of those fights take a long time. And it is indescribably more stressful than bringing in CGR, just doing parry heavy, 1 combo, 2 combos, nuke. With the thing, you know that those fights will go for minutes and minutes. So there was quite a lot of stress and nerves going in this war, knowing that any single player who gives away a death loses the war. That being said, let's get to it! But yeah, so they had explored everything. We had about 30 fights to go at this point, and 0 margin for error. And the first matchup is also quite interesting, where I'm going to be using Thing against King Groot on this path 8. And the nodes there, basically, if he has buffs, he's reducing my ability accuracy. If I stay close to him, he's gaining buffs and stuff like that. But the reason why Thing, or virtually any champion that is a global attack tactic champion works here is because you have access to Fate Seal, you have access to Neutralize, so you can make sure that King Groot basically never gets any buffs, or hardly ever, and even if he does, you can Fate Seal them away. And the only problem with this fight, yet again, is the fact that it is a Thing fight, and on top of it all, we are fighting a King Groot, who is like top 5 biggest health pool in the game. Like, luckily he's not regioning in this fight, because we're Fate Sealing that away. But still, using one of the slower champions against King Groot, I knew I'm not going to die, I knew I'm not going to time out because it's section 1, but I knew it's also going to take a while, so here we are. The only serious danger here for me would be if I eat a level 2 whilst he has Furies up. So as a general rule, I just didn't push him to level 2 until the very, very end, basically. Because if I eat a level 1 or a combo or 2 or 3, I would not die against King Groot. The only way to die here would be, yeah, if he drops a level 2 to my face with Furies active. Here I did push him to level 2, but he has no Furies, and I do parry it, and that's fine. And now we can finish this off. He does have 5 Furies here at the very end, but, you know, that was at the very, very end, and it was a fairly solid fight, I would say. Now, this next fight against Void here, this is the fight that cost us GT40 war. If you do not remember, against GT40, we tied 1 death to 1 death, and we lost on time. And this was our death. One of our players had a perfect fight against this Void using Falcon, where he took down Void to 15% health, with Falcon being at about 90% health. And he just either had a, you know, frame drop or something, and he ate Void's level 2 to the face and immediately died, basically. And therefore, this fight is a bit of a stressful fight. A bit of a cursed fight, this specific matchup here. And so this time they are sending me with Absorbing Man. And this is my first ever Absorbing Man fight against Void. And in a proper tradition, I blunder it at the very start. What is going to happen at the very start is going to be a very, very stupid mistake, where I'm going to dash in at heavy attack and lose my combo after this first level 1. So I started with the Power Start 1 boost just to make sure I can refine my form quicker and, you know, get some damage in faster. But here I eat a heavy attack just as I was about to, you know, get that debuff. So now I need to build up 10 combo, and there's a conflictor here, which means I basically need to treat this guy as stun immune, or he's going to gain a whole chunk of power. And now that I finally get rid of this first debuff, the second debuff is on here. Now, thank God I don't eat this level 2 to the face like a Muppet. But now I have finally basically kind of caught up, but you can see that I'm at 21 combo, and the next debuff is coming. So this entire fight was extremely stressful. My heart was racing because I made a silly mistake at the start, and I had to play catch up the entire fight. But I did, so I kind of stabilized that. I got that regen as well, consuming my charges, and then at the, you know, and just finished off the fight. So this definitely did not work out perfect, but I suppose it was well enough. And now I need to deal with this Magneto. And now I have used Thing against Magneto here previously, but now it's somewhat easier than it used to be because of the neutralize. So you can, if he's neutralized, you can actually block bait the heavy attacks. The only problem here is obviously one-eyed open, and the way to kind of work around that in this fight obviously is going to be to block bait the heavy. Here I'm actually going to make a mistake where I'm going to get parried, but because I had plenty of brain to build up my charges, I knew that it's not going to be a big deal if I get parried, because he hit into me with 20 charges, I got unstoppable, and I got an opening that way. Now at this point, I could, before, start baiting out heavy attacks, which is fine. So again, I'm just gonna need to bait out a heavy, drop a special here to get that Fate Seal, hopefully neutralize on him, and when neutralize is active, yeah, I can just block bait heavies. I did, for whatever reason, I think that for a moment I wanted to build up more of my rock stacks as well, because you can use rock stacks to find an opening too. So this fight's going fine. I am taking cheap damage here and there, but I am winning the health battle. Obviously, again, it is kind of like better to always make sure that your thing does have the rock stacks. That I do not nail a little bit of an intercept, drop my level 1, I have 55 charges, I obviously also want to build up my damage. And again, I'm just gonna parry a bunch to get my charges back up. And thing being, bleed and shock immune, obviously he has perfect set of immunities for this. Again, it's just that these fights take time. But I suppose in this case, it's not too important, because it did look like we are gonna lose on the time anyways. Again, so I'm gonna build up a few more charges here. Drop my special attack whilst he's charging his heavy attack to get the guaranteed opening, get rid of that unstoppable. Now I can bait heavy again, so it's fairly straightforward. Could I have played this cleaner? Definitely, with less chip damage and stuff like that. Here, unfortunately, he did not want to throw his heavy whilst he was still neutralized. So again, I'm gonna have to bait out an attack and drop my special, and now I can go back to baiting heavy attacks from him. When I need to. I typically also, have no problems waiting Magneto's level 2, but in Alliance War, especially war like this, I definitely better choose not to. It's here at 3%, so I finish this off. But it was still quite a long fight, as I said, with Thing, but thank God I'm out of it. And here is the next fight. And next fight, I'm actually kind of even more worried. Cersei is kind of my nemesis. Now, I don't think I have died to her in Alliance War, but in Battleground, she always kicks my ass. I really hate fighting against Cersei. I really, 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 really do. And what it has to do with is the fact that her special attacks always catch me. And her special attacks will catch me in this fight, but thank God I am using Thing. But this fight definitely was very stressful. There's just no way around it. There's just absolutely no way around it. This is stressful. Right, but again, the principle here is just like in previous fights. Thing is a global attacker, so I have excellent buff control and I have perfect immunities. The only problem is I wish Thing was hitting harder. So as long as I have my neutralize active, I can block as much as I want. She's not going to be gaining those combat power rate charges. And when I use special attacks, any buffs or anything that she has active on her, I'll get rid of. So here I completely waste my indestructible 3 boost, which sucks. So now I do not have that protection there anymore. And so far I'm doing a relatively decent job keeping things in control. I do not really want to go for like a big level 2 here, because I want to build up as many charges, as many furies as quickly as I can. Now, another problem in this fight is obviously the armor up passives she keeps gaining. And I would need to hit her block to get rid of them. Or when I crit, it's fine, because crits can get rid of it. Bypass the armor, basically. But the thing doesn't really crit, so those armors are definitely making the fight significantly slower as well. And here she doesn't want to use her special. I think in a moment I'm going to eat a special to the face. Quite sure that in a moment I eat special to the face, but it's a thing, so protection saves me. And everything's good. That's why you want your things to be Sig 200. So I ate a special to the face there. It's fine. Now I use my special. Get rid of her glancing and everything else that she had there. That's fine. We are getting that Cersei down 31%. But again, it's taking time. It's nearly 2 minutes in this fight already. So here I have built a level 2. I think there's going to be a moment where I'm going to eat another special attack, but luckily again I'm going to have enough charges and protection ready to go. So she does not want to use her. So she does not want to use her special there, and yeah, she gets her glancing. And here I just misoperated. Cersei's my pain in the butt, but again, protection, everything's good. We got protected there. Well, that's why Thing is also assigned to these fights, because he is safe. You need to mess up quite a bit to give away the KO there. And now the final like 7%, but she still will not go down. That is one chunky Cersei. But finally she went down. Definitely an ugly fight. No way around it. And now the final fight that I was arguably the most stressed. Stressed to the point where I boosted before healing up my Absorbing Man, which is just a silly, stupid thing to do. But okay, whatever. And this fight I was quite stressed about. I had done this exact matchup previously with CGR twice, and both times it went fine. You know, ish. First time it was so-so, second time it definitely went fine. Great. And this time, we're using Absorbing Man. And the main point of this fight, though, is just, you know, make sure to not lose your form. And that's about it. Just hit Korg, because Hazard Shift is going to let you pause your form all the time. So as long as you can bait out opponents' special attacks and be aggressive enough, you will maintain your form. And other than that, you know, use your level 2s. And that's it. Kind of. Sounds very simple, but when you think about this fight and everything that could go wrong, you know, it seems much different. But here we can see that the fight's doing just fine. I'm not doing any fancy light intercepts. Just, you know, doing full 5-hit combos, dropping my level 2s, benefiting from that secondary incinerate damage there. You know, nailing in some intercepts when they present themselves to me. Primarily, I'm pushing Korg to level 2, which, you know, makes this even easier. I do not have any problems evading the level 1, but this does make it easier. So here I just need to find an opening, push him a bit further up, and the fight will be over in just a second. Drop my level 2. He did get his rock stacks back, but it doesn't really matter. And I did my job. I did not die. The question is, now, did every single other person in New Nation did their job in order to let us win this war? And the answer to that question is that why, yes, we did. So we can see that we lost it on time by about 300 seconds, which is about 5-minute fight time. But we did not die the second time. There was no disconnect this time, like against LVT. And we finished the war 150, 2 deaths to 1, where we win because we only died once. And it's very important now. We have 2 wars left, and I believe New Nation at the moment is in a fairly solid position of maintaining the second spot on the leaderboard, which would obviously be still a very, very good season finish. But man, these wars have been so stressful. I think half of the wars, or more than half of the wars this season, have been either tied or 1 death difference. Like LVT, it was 2-2. Then we had GT40 1-1. Salty was like 3-4 or something like that. This one was 2-1. So think about half of the wars were either equal deaths and winner decided by time, or 1 death difference or so. It's just so competitive right now. But we seem to be doing okay. How's your season doing, guys? I hope you all are enjoying the war season as well. And I'm going to catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the